Hello, everyone. This is Miguel. I am the host of Strategy Rewind, the podcast that focuses on the mindset and strategies necessary for a breakthrough moment. I'm so happy that you would be connected here today. We are live on the Wisdom application on this beautiful day. I hope that today you've seen some amazing things, right? I hope that you've been producing at the level that you want to produce. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the group, those who are connecting live here on the Wisdom app. Hey, let's talk about procrastinating and procrastination. How many times have you fallen victim to procrastination? How many times have you delayed the inevitable? Like you know what you have to do, and yet you've put it off, and you put it off, and you put it off, and you say, tomorrow I'll do it, tomorrow I'll do it, tomorrow I'll do it later, I'll do it some other time. Here's my definition of procrastination. I'm really interested to know what your definition is. If you have a different definition for procrastination, here's how I define procrastination. To me, procrastination is delegating to your future self what you could do today. That's my definition of procrastination. Delegating to your future self what you could do today. And the issue with this is that so often we think if we just put something off that eventually it'll get done. But the truth is, if you had the time to do it now, you would do it now. Your future self is not going to have more than 24 hours. Your future self is not going to have more than 7 days a week. Your future self is not going to have more than 52 weeks. Your future self is not going to have more than 12 months. Your future self is not going to have more than 365 days. Like your future self isn't going to have more time to do the things that you know you have to do now. And yet we fall into this trap because it is a trap. And it's the thought that if I leave this for later, later it'll get done. Later it'll happen. And I've done it. We've all fallen into this trap, this idea that I don't feel like doing it right now. I don't feel like it. Here, full transparency to all of you that are connected here on the Wisdom app. I have put upon myself a lofty goal, I would say. Lofty just because of the fact that, well, there's a lot of hats that I wear and a lot of things that I do throughout the day. But I've set this goal for myself that I want to go live every single day on the month of February, and that's the goal that I want, that I've established for myself. I want to essentially go every single day for 28 days, go live on the Wisdom application. I've selected to go live specifically on the Wisdom application because I think it allows for greater reach, and I think it also allows for the greater impact of community. There's no filters, there's no fluff. This is my real voice. And if you've heard the Strategy Rewind podcast before, or you've heard any of my other talks here on the, this is my voice, right? And so this is the reason why I selected to do this challenge for myself. 28 days on the Wisdom app, every single day, 30 minutes a day to go live. And today, we've been going live for the last several days now. And to be honest, it's today I don't feel like doing it. Can I just be honest with you? Like today, I just don't feel like doing it. And you're like, well, if you don't feel like doing it, why do it? Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. If we allow our emotions to dictate our actions, we will never do anything. If you're waiting to feel happy in order for you to do the things that you know will make you happy, you're never going to be happy. And oftentimes we fall into this trap where we allow our actions to follow our emotion as opposed to letting our emotions follow our actions. Let me break this down here a little bit, and feel free to jump in. Those who are connecting on the Wisdom app, feel free to engage on this conversation. If this has happened to you, if you know someone, if you can relate and bring further context to this, because here's what happens is that we're thinking when I feel better, I'm going to do better. But what it should be is that you should do better and understand that you will feel better in the process of doing it. Or how many things have you didn't want to do? Like you woke up in the morning, alarm went off, you didn't want to go to work, but you went to work, and then you did the work you had to do, and then the day was over, and you were like, hey, that wasn't so bad. Or maybe you didn't want to go to the gym, but you were like, nope, I said I was gonna go. I'm gonna commit myself in going. Or maybe like me, you said I'm gonna connect every single day, show up every day for the community live, and maybe today I don't feel like doing it, but this is not based upon what I feel, because if it was for what I feel, I mean, I don't know, I'd lock myself in a room sometimes, but I can do that. And I just want to encourage you that if you're waiting to feel better, to do better, that is the wrong strategy. The action would be that you would do better, and eventually you're going to feel better, right? You're going to feel better, because what will happen is that you'll find joy and purpose in the things you're doing. Let's not confuse this with fake it till you make it. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying fake it till you make it. I'm saying do not let the emotions that you have, do not let that be the driving force. You may not always feel 100%, but you can give your best. And maybe your best today is 80. So give 80. But when your best is 100, when you can give 100, give the full 100. Does that make sense? Like if today you don't feel 100%, but you could just show up and just say, hey, I don't feel 100%, but I'm here because I'm committed and I'm going to give it the best that I could give today. And today my best may be 50. Today my best may be 80. But guess what? I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to give it my all. And this is the issue that sometimes falls in our life, where we don't accomplish goals, not because we don't have a smart goal, right? Not because it's not specific or measurable, not because it's not attainable, or not because it's not any of these things, but rather it's because of the fact that we simply don't feel like it. Right? We say, okay, when I feel like it, I'll do it. Okay, when you feel like it, but what if you don't feel like it? What if you don't feel like it? And many of you, you've set a smart goal, right? It's been specific, it's been measurable, achievable, it's been relevant, it's been time bound, and you say, okay, but how come I'm not reaching my goal? Because yesterday you didn't feel like it, and you had all of these acronyms, and you had all of these ideas, but you just didn't feel like it. And so imagine this: passion is your fuel. Passion is fuel. But of course, you can put fuel in the vehicle, but if you don't have anywhere to go, it just doesn't matter. You're just going to waste fuel, right? Passion is fuel. So you need purpose. You need purpose, because again, having fuel that well, having a gas tank full of gas, right? That's good. But if you have nowhere to go, well, then great. You just have a car that's parked with a full gas. So passion is fuel, but the engine is your emotions. And we all wrestle with these two forces, right? And in a vehicle, you need these two parts. You need the engine and you need the fuel. And so I'm not saying that you have to let go of one and take the other, because you won't be able to. You need both in order to function. But your why is the ignition. Your why is what actually turns the vehicle on. Your why, your purpose for doing things, right? Passion, it's fuel, right? It'll drive, right? It'll turn on the car, and the engine is your emotions. But that ignition, you put the key in and you turn the ignition. That is your why. And I want you to see that, visualize that. Because every time you decide to get up, every time you decide to move, you're wrestling with these two things, with your passion and with your emotions. And you have to determine, okay, am I going to let my emotions today tell me no? Or am I going to say, yep, I'm focused on what the goal is, on what my purpose is? Because if you take that attitude, well, then your passion will fuel you. We're talking about procrastinating. And as you're entering the room here on the Wisdom app, which I thank you so much for being part of this conversation, Sarah, Sonia, Reggie Wood, thank you for being here. Jade, Ask Natty, Love, hey, thank you all for being here. I'm happy that you would join in. Join in on the conversation, by the way. Click that button. Let me know, how do you deal with procrastination? What do you do when you don't feel like doing something? And you can easily delegate to your future self. That's how I define procrastinating. It's delegating your responsibilities of today to your future self. And the problem is that often we overlook is that we don't know in what state our future self will be in. Because if today you don't feel like doing what you have to do, and you've procrastinated, you've delegated to your future self, but tomorrow you don't feel like doing it, and then the next day you don't feel like doing it, and then instead of letting your passion fuel you, you let your emotions take the wheel, so to speak. Well, then no, you're never going to do anything. You're never going to move forward. You're never going to overcome. You're never going to actually see the victory, see the prosperity, see the things. And you can see them in your dreams, but when you wake up, the reality will be there. And as I mentioned, many of you know how to establish goals. Like, you all have heard of the SMART goals, right? You know that it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable, it has to be relevant, it has to be time bound. And many of you even know the smarter goals, right? That you have to be able to evaluate. You have to, but the thing is that many of you know this, and yet for some reason or another, you actually don't accomplish your goals. And then what happens is that frustration settles in, because you think, well, I had everything going for me. I had it written down. I knew that it was specific. I knew that it was measurable. I had all the details, all the parts. Yeah, but you had not fully committed into this idea that sometimes you're not going to feel good. Right? So sometimes you're going to feel really sucky. Like, some days you're going to be really tired, really not into it. And still, in those moments, you're going to have to say, I'm going to still do this. I'm still going to commit. I'm still going to commit. I'm still going to do this. That's, at least that's how I defeat procrastination. I say, I don't want to do this, but I got to do this. Right? And I may not want to show up, or I may not want to do certain project. I may not want to be at a certain location, but I gave my word. I said I was going to be there. I want to be the type of person that people can trust the word they say. And that really is the key. So often we think about a goal and we say, okay, what do I have to do to accomplish that? I think a better question is, who do I have to become to accomplish that? Because the version of me that I am right now may not be doing those things, may not be accomplishing those things that I want to accomplish, may not be living that life that I want to live. But there is a version of me that resides in me that wants to come on out, that actually understands the task they need to do. This is the idea of transformation, right? Another word for transformation is metamorphosis. And something that we know and we see that will go through the metamorphosis process is a butterfly, right? It goes from being a caterpillar to a butterfly. We understand that. We've seen that. We understand that. But yeah, oftentimes we don't want to experience the transformational process in our life, because the truth is that sometimes it's going to feel sucky, right? Sometimes it's just not going to feel too good. Sometimes it's just not going to be fun. It's just not going to be fun. Like, I've been thinking about this today, and it's the idea of growth as it pertains to the two ways that you can grow. You can either grow out of something or you can grow into something. You can grow out of something or you can grow into something, right? And many of us are in a process where we want to grow into becoming this successful individual, but we don't want to grow out of our old habits. Many of us want to grow into becoming this amazing leader, communicator, entrepreneur, fitness, healthy person, right? We want to become this, we want to grow into this new identity, but we don't want to grow out of the old things. And there's just no way to do both. You can't grow into something without growing out of something. You can't mature and still be immature. That's just not going to happen. And so when we talk about having a breakthrough moment, when we talk about accomplishing your goals, when we talk about being that person that actually succeeds, one of the things we have to combat, we have to fight against is procrastination. Because so often we procrastinate. And again, the way I define procrastination is delegating today's responsibilities to tomorrow. Right? It's for today. It's on the docket for today. It's to be done today, but we leave it for tomorrow. Those who are joining in here on the room, JF, thanks for being here. King Bookman, thanks for being here. Elizabeth, thank you for coming in here. Hey, let me know, how do you deal with procrastination? How do you combat procrastination, or better said, how do you combat those moments when you don't feel like doing anything, but you know what you have to do? Click on the button, join the conversation here. Let me know, how do you combat those moments when you just don't feel like showing up? You just don't feel like doing what you understand you have to do. Like, you know what time it is. It's the moment to go ahead and take action, and yet you just don't feel like it. Do you allow that feeling to overpower the actions that need to be taken? Or do you muster up the strength and say, today is the day, I will do it. I will accomplish. I will not stay in this place. I can't lay down. I want to, but if I lay down, I know that I won't make it. If I lay down, if I sit down, how do you deal with procrastination? Right? To me, again, it's delegating today's tasks for it's allowing or hoping or thinking that tomorrow you'll be able to actually accomplish those things. But the reality is that tomorrow comes and then you still don't feel like doing it. And so now you're in a battle because you said you do it tomorrow, and tomorrow, well, here's the thing about tomorrow. Annie said that the sun will come out tomorrow. She wasn't lying, but there was one thing she didn't tell us, is that tomorrow will become today. Is that tomorrow will become today. And so when you talk about delegating, eventually you're going to have to say, today is the day. There's this story of a grandmother who was very sick, and in her sickness she was in the hospital, she was bedbound, and she had two grandsons who sung a lot. And when she went into the hospital, they knew this was going to be her last resting place. And they tried to make her as comfortable as possible there. They brought her a lot of knickknacks that she had in her house, brought her some of her favorite things. They asked her, is there anything else you want that will make you comfortable? Again, they knew this was the ending of her life. And she said, I want one thing. And she asked that her two grandchildren would sing a song and record it so that she can listen to it every day. You see, her two grandchildren had learned a song from her when they were kids, and they would, in their older age, sing it back to her, and this would fill her up with so much joy. So they said, we'll do it for you. Of course, they couldn't communicate on what day to do it. They said, we'll do it on a Saturday. Saturday turned into Sunday, Sunday into Tuesday, Tuesday into 2 months, 2 months into a couple weeks later. All that time in between, they were still saying, "We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're just, we just don't have the time. We're finding difficulty." They kept saying all these reasons why they were just procrastinating and just dragging their feet. And their mom would call them and say, "Hey, your grandma's in the hospital waiting for that song recording." And their dad would call them, "Your grandmother, she's in the hospital. Nana is asking for this cassette, for this music." And even sometimes she would muster up the strength and call them. But rather, if it was the mom, rather if it was the father or the grandmother, they would all get the same thing, and it was the response of, "We're working on it." One day, they got a call from their mother, and they said, "Yeah, we're working on it," because they anticipated that it was going to be the same pressure and the same questioning of where is the music. But there was no question of where was the music. There was no questioning of when will you be ready, when will you sing it, when will you record it, when will you provide it. There was no your grandma wants this. There was no your grandma's waiting on this. It was just a final call to let them know that their grandma had died. And you and I, so often, we allow our emotions, we allow the distractions to get in the way. And we continue to procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate. We continue to delegate to our future self things that we know we could do today. Can you imagine if one day you woke and it's your future self standing right in front of you saying, "Hey, there's too much to be done today." We have, for some reason or another, we have delegated so much that we don't realize we bankrupt our own future. Because instead of taking action today, we think that tomorrow it'll work out. After all, Annie didn't lie when she said the sun will come out tomorrow, right? The sun will come out tomorrow. She wasn't lying. But sometimes we forget that tomorrow will become today. And we can either make the actions regardless of how we feel, or we can continue to delegate today's responsibilities to tomorrow, hoping that tomorrow I'll feel better. Tomorrow I'll be more up to it. Tomorrow it won't rain so much. Tomorrow it won't snow. Tomorrow the sun will be out. Tomorrow I'll have time. Guess what, my friends? Tomorrow you're going to have 24 hours, the same amount of hours you had today. Wouldn't it be nice that you could go to your last bed, to that last moment, that last breath? Wouldn't it be nice for you to be able to lay down and that the doctor says arrange everything because these are your last final hours? Wouldn't it be nice for you to say, "You know what? I did not delegate to my future self anything. I have done everything that's on my to-do list. I've accomplished." People walk around with a to-do list and with a bucket list. I don't know what's the difference. It's like, well, my bucket list is the things I want to do before I kick the bucket. Why don't you add it to your to-do list, consolidate it, and stop procrastinating? Take action. Stop waiting for you to feel ready to do it and just do it. And it's like, well, I got kids. I understand. I got kids too. Well, I got bills. I understand. I got bills too. But there comes this moment where you have to understand exactly who you want to be. And then you make that person a reality. And the way you make that person a reality is by stopping this habit of procrastinating. So, one thing you could do is just when you see yourself saying, "I don't feel like doing this," the way to combat it is say, "But I'm going to do it anyways. But I'm going to do it anyways. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm not going to delay," because if I delay, that's the thing. Sometimes we procrastinate to tomorrow, and sometimes we procrastinate to 2 hours from now. But you know that now is the time. Why leave for tomorrow what you could do right now? Why leave for later what you can do right now? I got someone coming in here in 3, 2, 1. Join the conversation.
What's up? How's it
I'm
going?
on.
How's the
What's going
audio?
on?
I'm using a XL. I'm using a Pro microphone, so not just my iPad. I upgraded.
I tell you what, Amos, you sound fantastic, man. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing, and what a thing to talk on. This is something that kills people and their dreams more than anything else. Because procrastinating, for me at least, if I could share a little bit of my story,
Yeah.
um, procrastinating came when I let like my dad and brothers and everybody dictate to me what I should do, right? And I always thought I didn't have a choice, right? Because that's one of the things they said is like, hey, we're just trying to help you. And isn't that funny how, like, that's always the phrase that's used?
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, um, well, I really can't help you. You're kind of on your own. And then you get successful because again you find out that procrastinating didn't help you, right? So you're just like, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and come hell or high water it's going to work or it's not. And when you start becoming successful, everybody's like, I knew you could do it. And you just feel this, they're telling everybody that, oh, I've always had your back and everything like that. And then you want to go back and like freaking shame them to their face. But for me, I chose not to do that because I found out that um, the circumstances I was in my life, like for one thing, I didn't end up getting a job till I was like 22, and like that should never happen to a man. That was my failure. I should have just told my dad to stick it up as you know what, and do what I needed to do, right? Regardless of if he thought I could do it or not, right? Now I do appreciate what my dad, don't get me wrong, has offered to me over the years, et cetera, et cetera. But there's also something to be said about the idea of steering your own course. And I'll ask y'all a question. How can you steer your own course if there's like four different rudders on your ship, and each of those have a separate steering wheel, and everybody's steering except for yourself?
Man, that is really good. That's really good. It's interesting, right? Because you're saying there are so many people that sometimes want to help us that what it causes is that we're just procrastinating. Well, we're delegating to them to do something that we know we can do right now, rather it be
Mm-hmm.
because of comfort, because of overthinking, because of fear, or because of just using those relationship as a crutch.
Right. And we see that they have been successful. Um and so we think they have all the answers. More
Mhm.
often than not, my dad, even though he didn't realize it or not, was discouraging me because he wanted some things to happen in his life and they just didn't, right? And so he let that kind of trickle into my upbringing, right? And that should never happen as a parent. And one of the things I've noted is I am always going to tell my children, whatever you're gonna do, get going on it. Don't procrastinate. Don't try to forecast and make something more than what it is, because it's a simple thing of I just released my first song. By the way, y'all can find it. It's 99 cents if you want to buy it on Apple. It's called There Is a God, Hope Song. There's a story behind that. If y'all want to hear
Mhm.
about it sometime, let me know. But I released that, right? I did it by myself. I spent $9 and I used a platform. And after I released it, um, they said it was going to be like 3 to 5 days. And I was just curious. I guess I just had a really big heart of faith. So I went and checked it out. It was already live on Pandora, guys. So, like, all I did was, like, make a necessary step. I didn't procrastinate and say, well, should I use this $9 or should I, save and go to a studio and get it really good quality? Because if you wait long enough, people are gonna not respect you because if you
Hmm.
start putting stuff out and you're um, 30 years old, which I'm close to, it's not going to work out. So I would rather just get something out there as best that I could do and then improve on as I go instead of procrastinating.
Man, Amos, you are speaking some truth here today because oftentimes we are we are becoming perfectionists, right? And because of our own desire to just want to do it right, we never do it now, right? The idea of doing it right stops us from just doing it now. I'll tell you what, there is a company that has a powerful slogan. It's very simple. I'm sure you've heard of the company. The company is Nike, and their slogan is, say it with me, just do it. This is the most simplest theme ever, the most simplest slogan ever. Just do it. Just get it done. Hey, Amos is coming back around here. Let's let our brother Amos come back around. Just do it, right? Just get it done. You threw some awesome points there, Amos, which is the point of, as opposed to waiting for the perfect time, the perfect moment, the perfect scenario, the perfect etc. Just get it done today. Make it happen now.
Yeah, don't let other people's money. I mean, it's good if they want to offer their services, but if you're qualified to do it, why do you need to go to somebody else in their studio and or whatever? Save that for those that can afford to do that. Maybe like for myself, I want to get to the point where I'm producing my own stuff. So I just wanted to prove to myself that I could get something out there. And I had no idea. It was like, guys, the music industry and what we can do now is so much different than what it was back then. I mean,
Mhm.
could you
Hey,
imagine if
Amos,
Elvis could, you know, have
talk a little bit about that feeling. Talk a little bit about that feeling of getting it done, because, like you said, there's so much tools, there's so many resources to get it done now. Obviously, there are those who may be in a different financial bracket. We're not talking about those. We're talking about people like you and I, the people that can still get it done. Talk about that feeling when you saw that your song was going live.
Uh, it was. I was flabbergasted. I mean, especially when they said it was going to take like 3 to 5. Because I used the service Lander, and I'll just go ahead and say my experience with them was very good because they even sent me an email warning me of like something that was on my cover art that hey,
Hmm.
this might not get published, instead of just putting it out there and say, hey, I'm sorry, we couldn't publish it, right? So they made sure that everything was good, sound quality, etc. It I was surprised the sound quality made the checkbox, right? And another thing that I was really encouraged and just the feeling was, I don't know, I couldn't stop saying I did it or God is
No,
good.
man.
Um,
No, listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Amos. I think, God puts us in positions, and oftentimes, obviously, we need to understand, and I think you understand this, that the glory is to God, right? The glory is to God. But He's put us in a position, and there has to be this moment of recognition of, I did that.
uh
I
huh.
did
You
that.
know what's funny
You
too?
know,
A little comedic. Y'all guys know where I was at when I was publishing it on my phone?
where were you?
I was at work on the toilet.
Wow. And you were
I was like,
publishing.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And it
you
was
know,
like a Christian. I was like,
a
you
lot
know,
of times people are on the toilet and they do a lot of thinking there, right? Uh,
I mean,
but
yeah,
what happens is that we do a lot of thinking. The conversation is, how do you take that thinking into action? And my brother, Mr. Amos, you did that, right? You took that thinking, and you could have easily said, "Nah, I'll do it later. I'll do it some other time." But no, you were like, "I'm gonna get it done now." Getting it
yeah,
done
get it on the ball.
now. Yeah,
And then
and
I
man, that's
got the
so
email the
amazing.
very next day. I took care of the error on the cover art, which was funny because the cover art looked better after I did this because I covered up the EP, which is it's a
Hmm.
single and the EP. I thought they were the same thing, but I guess they're not. So I scratched that out I literally made, guys, I made the cover art on Instagram. That's all I used. And I pulled a picture off the internet. That is all I used. I didn't even have like a
Hmm.
professional thing. So everything was just from scratch. And everybody's loving it. They say I love the song. Um,
That's
their
awesome. Hey,
art.
let the people know. Let the people know where they could find the music, man.
Yeah, look up on all platforms, whether it's YouTube, um, Zeter, um, Spotify. What's the
And what
other?
was
I
the
just
title
said
of the
it.
song again?
Pandora is There Is a God. But also, if you want to look up my artist name, it's Clef Waters. So CLEFF WATERS. Clef Waters. Um,
Man, I want to thank you so much for being here, man. Thank you so much for
yeah, for
for
sure.
what you're bringing to the table.
And I wanted to. The reason why I did hop back on, that wasn't the only reason, but I just thought it was funny how their slogan matches their check mark. Like I got.
That is 100% fact, right? It is a check mark. It's got it done. And you could say, it's a swoosh, but that's the thing, right? How many of us are so familiar with the Nike swoosh, are so familiar with the slogan, right? Just do it. But how many of us can actually say, just did it, just got it done? How many can put a check mark to what you said you were going to do, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what's going on? Our brother Amos was talking about having not enough resources or feeling like maybe not now, maybe later, but he put a deadline. He put the pressure on himself. He said, no, 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 no. I can't wait till I'm 30. I can't wait till I'm 40. I can't wait till I'm 50. That's the proper mindset. You can't afford to wait. You can't afford to keep procrastinating and delegating to your future self what you can do today. You just can't afford to do that, because if you do that, what will happen is that you'll never pull the trigger. You'll never actually get it done. You'll never actually move into the avenue and the area you want to. I want to shout out some people that are here with us. Christopher John, thank you for being with us. Just a Man podcast, Ricky, Jessica, Curtis, Dr. Rao. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, my brother Amos coming back one more time. Let's finish this up. I'm excited. I hope you are too. And I hope you're taking notes, because, again, it's not about how you feel or how the weather is or what's going on around you. It is your drive, is your determination greater than your emotions? Brother Amos.
Hey, how's it going? I just had to come back on again because like I don't know. Cutting it off right there, just saying it was a check mark, was too shallow. So I want to leave y'all with something deep. Um, isn't it funny how procrastinating starts with what I don't know. I guess the status quo wants you to be in order to be successful, right? You got to
Hmm.
be a pro. If you're not a
You
pro,
got to
you're
be
not in
pro.
it. So you're basically saying, okay, this is what I need to be a pro, and it's going to take me this, this, and this, instead of saying, well, I'm a pro already, but here's where I could measure up to be, a little better. Maybe along the years, I'll be like Grant Cardone or, Sean Whalen, if you guys have heard about him. He's a baller,
Mhm.
based out of Salt Lake City. Um, just a bunch of people. Like my team leader, he's awesome with the company that I'm starting on door to door sales. Um, that was another thing that I did where I said just do it, because that was something people kept telling me when every time I talked about sales. They're like, you would be good at sales, or have you considered sales? And I kind of have done it around seriously, but I never really thought doing it as a career to get my other stuff that I want, like,
Mhm.
because sales gives you lots of money if you know how to do it right.
Right.
And all I'm hearing now, since I just told myself, all right, no more procrastinating, people are saying I'm good at this. let's just do it. See how it works, right? So I'm getting training, and people are even saying that you sound way better and confident than I was. Like literally,
Mm-hmm.
I was still memorizing this part of the script, and you got the whole freaking thing. Plus, you added some embellishments here and there, and you're personable. You know, you're not like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, do this, this, and this for you, right?
Right.
And I guess
Robotic.
all I could say about that is that's that passion working. Okay, so if
Mm.
you want to be a pro, don't procrastinate being a pro. Just be a pro. Be proactive. Don't be uh I'm not even
Yeah.
sure what crastinate means, but I'm pretty sure it's to break down, to find to basically get down to the nitty gritty, which you don't really have to do that to be a pro. Really, all you need to do to be a pro is follow after those that have made mistakes and try to make what their mistakes were better. And you will find through that you'll make your own mistakes. So there's no such thing as that it's written in the book and this is the one way how to do it, right? We've got entrepreneurs that fail more than once. And what do? They build something bigger, and that ends up taking their failure and making it look like the biggest success there ever was. Just take a look at Donald Trump. And, a lot of people want to make fun of that man, but he is smart. And
Well, not just Donald Trump, but also Mark
I,
Cuban, Steve Jobs,
here we
Disney,
go.
right?
Here we
Time
go.
and
All
time
of the
again.
greats. Yeah. I can't list
Exactly.
all of them, but I feel like Donald
And
Trump
we
should be the father of all of them since.
and we can't forget my brother, Mr. Amos Waterbury, right? We can't forget that man.
Yeah, because I'm a pro. Exactly. I mean, I love it, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
You're a
don't
pro.
procrastinate being a pro. Be proactive in being a pro. Say, I'm going to
Exactly.
do that. You know what I really loved, what made me, I guess, fired up for 2023 is I said, all right, let's chuck the freaking, you know, this is what I want to do for 2023. Say, this is
Right,
what
right.
I'm doing in 2023.
I love
And
it.
I got
I
that
love it.
mindset, and my team leader basically encouraged me, hey, think about these things. And I ran it the rest of the way. I went the long extra mile to say, oh, I'm
Mhm.
going to make this much money. And then when his manager read it, it was like,
Be a pro. I love that, right? You can either procrastinate or you can be a pro. You can either delegate the things that you can do today to your future self, or you can be a pro. And a pro does not let time slip by. Recently in the National Basketball Association in the NBA, they celebrated LeBron James' milestone of becoming the all time leading scorer. And you may have your idea of who the GOAT is or is not. Personally, I think Kobe Bryant is the GOAT, but that's just me. However, regardless of what you think, the body of work and the accomplishment of Mr. LeBron James shows us one thing: consistency, my friends. It wasn't done in year one, it wasn't done in year two, it wasn't done in year three, it wasn't done in year 10. This guy's been doing it for multiple years and he's still been consistent, scoring at a high level, working at a high level. Again, you may have your personal opinion of him, but what I am asking you to do is to commit yourself to the consistency that is required for you to grow. That's what a pro does. They commit themselves to the consistency. And oftentimes, in the moments of challenges, of difficulties, in the moments of whatever may be happening in your life, you need to recommit to the task at hand. You need to recommit to your why. You need to recommit to just doing it, to getting it done. Hey, I want to thank you all who are connected here on the Wisdom app. If you have not done so, I want to encourage you to check out my podcast, Strategy Rewind, that focuses on the mindset and strategy necessary for a breakthrough moment. And for those who are connected on the Strategy Rewind podcast and are listening right now, I want to encourage you to jump on the Wisdom app, follow people like Amos, get connected, become part of the conversation. I'm telling you, this application is going to blow up this year. I believe it. And the reason is because there is value in community. And if you want to grow, then surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision. Have a wonderful day.